Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over a story titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my friend's wife that he hated marriage and hated the idea of having kids and was planning on living alone in Alaska? And guys, this story is coming from a woman, and she's wondering, pretty much she's asking the question, is she the a-hole, is she a jerk for essentially, let's be honest here, trying to sabotage a good relationship and marriage that her former friend and boyfriend had when she ran into him years later? Because it turns out that they were an item when she and her boyfriend were like 19, early 20s, something like that. But they eventually broke up because he wasn't, at that time, wasn't interested in ever getting married or having kids or anything like that. Very smart, I might add. Very wise for that age. And so they broke up, and that was that. She runs into him years later, and guess what? Turns out he had a change of heart and got married and had kids. And you're going to see here as I go through this little story here that she definitely has some words about that, says to his wife, causing some drama and turmoil for this guy. And it's a perfect example of the saying, hell hath no fury like a woman scorn. And I'm going to chime in on here, and you'll see a little bit more as I get into this. And real quick, guys, let me mention here, she's also in her mid-30s, no man, no kids, and what have I told you many times about women when they get to 30 or 30s, they start freaking out. Because a lot of them do want to have kids one day in a family, but they spend their 20s, as you are perfectly aware these days, riding the carousel, being the career women with the idea that I can easily get a man in my 30s or sometimes 40s as I could in my 20s. So I'm just going to be carefree and do whatever I want and be empowered to be like a man in terms of riding the carousel and all that. Not that guys ride the carousel, but we do something different. But anyhow, she's alone, no family, no kids, none of that, and she's not happy about it. So I'm going to just sabotage somebody else. But anyhow, starts off. So about 15 years ago, when I was 19, living in foster home, I had a close friend named Jerry. We both had complicated feelings for each other. We both complain and vent about our problems. We dated for about 3 years, on and off, for several reasons. What ended our relationship for good was the fact that he never planned on getting married and be committed to a wife and kids. Well, very smart. But then again, how many 19-year-olds kind of say the same thing here? He never planned on having kids. In fact, he said he hated the idea of having kids, which hurt so much because I was the opposite. I'd always dreamed of having a big warm family of my own and really saw myself starting a family with him, but unfortunately, that was impossible. We drifted apart, and Jerry cut off contact and moved out of town after he said he wanted to go to Alaska and live there on his own. Well, maybe that's just exactly how he thought and felt at that moment at 19 or his early 20s. Or maybe he wanted to get the F away from this woman, already recognizing that she was a pain in the ass, and said, I'm moving to Alaska. Which literally meant he needed to get that far away from her, but still be a part of America, because that's how bad she was. Who knows? She says, I never had luck with any of the guys I dated. Imagine that. My exes were useless, selfish, and mean. Well, you attract what you're putting out there in the world. Obviously, she was putting out the vibe for getting the bad boys and the low lives and everything. But at the end of the day, she's the one that chose to be with these types of guys. I'm sure if this woman here was remotely above average looking, she probably had no problem with guys that were good guys, had jobs, had an income, treated her well, but been more than happy to become a dad and a married guy and all that. But probably they weren't her type. And now she's in her 30s. No husband, no kids. Does this kind of sound familiar with what we have today? She says, I focused on work at an advertising company. After being out of work for 2 years for health issues, I landed a job at door-to-door marketing, whatever that is. I was delivering a product to a customer, and coincidentally, I saw Jerry standing by the door holding a little girl in his arms, which looked a lot like him, his hair and eyes. I figured, yeah, that's his daughter. She just coincidentally happened to be in the same neighborhood as this guy that she hasn't seen all these years, who she thought moved to Alaska. Something tells me she was stalking this guy, probably Facebook stalked him, found out where he lived, and just happened to be in the neighborhood. Come on here. In the entire world where she could run into this guy, she happened to be in the same neighborhood at the same time where she saw him. Sure. But okay, we'll just continue on the story. I looked past him and saw two other kids. Jerry recognized me and we started talking. His wife showed up and welcomed me inside for a cup of coffee when Jerry said we were friends. Well, he should have invited her in, or unfortunately the wife invited her in. We talked about life and where we said we would be versus where we actually are now. I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by how much Jerry changed. I looked at him and talked about how life can be unpredictable. I wanted a family and a home, but now I'm just working all the time and living alone, while Jerry, who wanted to go live alone in Alaska and never planned to commit to a wife and hated the idea of kids, is now a family man with 3 kids and a wife. Hey, guess what? People change. People may not change who they are as individuals, but their wants can change, their values can change, their interests can change, their politics change. You know, it's been 15 years, okay? I mean, I'm the same person I was at, 28 years old, 15 years ago. But you can bet your ass that a lot of things have changed with me in terms of how I view the world, what's important to me. I've become a lot more conservative, political-wise. I was always conservative, but I'm more conservative as I've gotten older, and many other things. So guess what? This dude who said at 19 years old said he didn't want to have a wife and kids, which a lot of guys at that age probably would say anyway. Big deal. But she takes it personally. So she says this in front of him and his wife. Now listen to this. He and his wife froze. She gave him a look. Excuse me. He and his wife froze. She gave him a look and got upset suddenly. She excused herself to the bathroom. That's when he lashed out saying, I shouldn't have said that. I said it was true, and he said that was years ago. People change, and I should have told his wife he wanted to live alone and hated kids. You know, well, let me tell you something. She knew exactly what she was doing, and I don't think in any way she was just casually saying it offhand. She knew exactly what she was doing. She was jealous, so she just wanted to stir up shit and create some drama for this guy because she was mad that, now here he is 15 years later doing what she wanted to do, and he has the life that she wanted, but she doesn't have it. So she's going to cause drama for him. Now, in all fairness, this guy's wife getting upset and freezing up and going off to the bathroom because she's upset, that's just stupid. That's just her being dramatic, okay? Because guess what? People say things when they're younger and they change. So, but nevertheless, she's being the a-hole here, sticking her nose in this guy's life and causing turmoil and drama. He says, we had an argument and I left. He still got my number and is upset because of what I said. My coworker/friend said I was out of line and should apologize to Jerry and his family. But those were his words, and yes, I might have caused issues between him and his wife, but those were his words. Am I the a-hole? Yes, lady, you are the a-hole. Now, his wife shouldn't have gotten all worked up over that because, again, she's telling this on the basis of what he said when he was younger. People change. So she's being a drama queen. But this woman here is also being an a-hole, creating drama. And let me tell you, she knew exactly what she was doing here, okay? So, no, some people may think, oh, maybe I don't know the context of what she said or how she said it. She knew what she was saying. And this goes to show you guys that, like I said, hell hath no fury. This guy has what she wanted. She's pissed off about it, so she's going to stir up some trouble and cause turmoil in his marriage. Obviously, the turmoil will probably end pretty quickly, but nevertheless. Now, here's a few comments to show you that I'm not alone in this opinion. One guy says, yeah, you're the a-hole. Jerry didn't want those things with you. Clearly, he does want those things with his wife. You intend to cause her pain and harm the relationship because you are jealous. Exactly, she's jealous. Another guy says, you are the a-hole. People change. Clearly, Jerry did. You dug up the past because you're bitter that your life didn't go according to your expectations and try to pour cold water on his happiness. Ouch. Nailed it. If you can't be happy for a former friend, please do the decent thing and stay out of his life. Right. And again, I don't buy this whole I just happened to be in the neighborhood with this guy I haven't seen in 15 years. I think she was Facebook stalking him. That's what I think. Or Instagram stalking him or whatever the hell it is. Another guy says, you're the a-hole. That's such an awkward thing to say to someone and their wife. Like, do you really think he has to remain the version of himself from years ago for his entire life? That he's not allowed to change? Exactly. Like I said before, everybody changes as they get older in terms of like what's important to them, what do they value, their politics, their interests, all sorts of things. Some people have drastic changes, They may be the same as people, but in terms of their interest, clearly he changed his mind at some point, or he met a gal that did it for him, and whatever. Or who the hell knows? Or maybe it was a big lie and he just wanted to get as far away from this chick as possible, and you can obviously see why if that was the case. But anyhow, guys, this is a perfect example of just how some women, and let's be honest, people in general, when they're jealous and they don't get what they want in life, will try to sabotage other people's lives. So a big lesson here is certainly distance yourself from people in your life, friends, family, coworkers, whatever, that are envious and jealous of you, because they may try to screw up your situation because they don't have what they feel they're entitled to. So anyhow, guys, quick video, but that was a good one. So that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.